Hey guys, I'm IzDaisho and I'm back with a limited RTR review, and now we are on to black. We already did blue and white, so next one, obviously black. So I'm here with
Garub
and
Andrew.
Alright, let's jump right into it. The first card that we've got here is 4 black for a sorcery. It's an uncommon. Destroy target creature. Its controller discards a card. What do you think of it?
Well, it is a 6-mana removal spell, and it does a thing, but it's just not as good as the other 6-mana removal spells that do things. Because 1, it's a sorcery, unlike Trostani's Judgment. And 2, like, discarding a card is, I mean, it's pretty strong, but it's any card that they choose.
Right.
It's also at random. 6. They're not going to have a lot in hand.
Yeah, chances are they're going to have, like, a plains and a...
They're sandbagging a land.
This could definitely be a blowout against them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're just going to get somebody to be like, no! Angel of Serenity, no!
Yeah, they play the other Angel of Serenity and exile it from grave.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's just going to... It has a possibility to be, like, a pretty relevant card. But...
If you need removal, this is going to be played, but I don't see this, changing your deck around for this card.
Yeah, it's also worthy of noting it's 4 black, so you're never going to splash it.
Yep.
Alright, next card, I'm just going to let Garib take this one.
Catacomb Slug. Catacomb Slug is a 4 and black for a 2/6 vanilla slug. This is an incredible card for a single reason. It is the first ever vanilla 2/6 printed in the 20-year history of Magic. It took them this long to print a vanilla 2/6.
We've been waiting for you, Catacomb Slug!
Other than that, if you want to pay 4 mana for a 2/5, you can pay 5 mana for a 2/6. They're never getting past this one, right?
No, get out of here. Cremate, 1 mana, instant. Exile target card from a graveyard, draw a card. Meh.
Sideboard.
Yeah. Sideboarding for... Yeah, I mean, you could sideboard it for
against
scavenge. Yeah, against a scavenge deck. And then it cycles itself, so that's cute. And you can take away some of their value, but, I don't know... Maybe constructed play, who knows? We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, you can snapcast it for values.
Snapcast, that's true, that's cool. Oh, yeah.
Exile one of your other snapcaster targets for negative values.
No, you exile their snapcaster targets.
And then they
and you draw
in response.
Oh, wait.
In response to your cremate.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's pretty good. In response to them targeting a spell for flashback. Why are we talking about constructed? Daggerdrome Imp, 1 and a black for a 2-cost flying lifelink.
Cuteness.
Common. It's Vault Scourge without the Phyrexian mana. I don't like
without the being an artifact.
It's still cute.
I just don't like it
I mean, there's many ways to make it relevant, just because there is pump in this format.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be using my scavenge when we've had so many better scavenge targets than Daggerdrome.
I mean, the fact is this is a scavenge target in scavenge colors.
Yeah, that's true.
I like this card.
I like it, but it's not a card you're going to be actively searching for.
Yeah, and it's not a card that's going to make the cut all the time.
I would be mad to see this like in my first 8 picks. I'm not just happy. I'd be very happy to see this card table.
I'd be okay with the table.
I'm not too happy.
I'm okay having it, but I'm also okay not having it.
I mean, it just trades with a 1/1 bird, or I don't know, gets raped by Concordia Pegasus. I don't know.
Concordia Pegasus is awesome.
Concordia Pegasus just blocks. It doesn't do anything else. That's why it sounds so good. Because it blocks. I don't want it to block. Okay. Dark Revenant, 3 and a black. Spirit, uncommon, flying. When it dies, put it on the top of its owner's library. So basically, you just get to play a 2/2 flyer forever. And I still can't decide whether or not I like that or whether or not I absolutely hate that.
I do not like this card.
At first, I didn't like the idea of playing a 2/2 flyer forever, but then I remembered that you could just shut down their attacker forever if you're just jump blocking with it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it because it doesn't give you an option.
Mm-hmm.
I actually very much do not like this card because if you're just putting this back on top of your library, you're not playing anything else.
So just
it definitely
hold it in
has
your
a
hand.
downside to it.
I mean, you just hold it in your hand.
But you don't have to replay it.
But I really, I don't know. At that point, if I have a card I don't want to play, why am I playing it?
Well, then you could just play it and not block, and then just attack. Like, you can definitely get around the fact that it goes onto the top of your library pretty easily, I think. But
it seems like I never wanted to be back in my library. Like,
that's not true. What if it trades for their only flyer?
Yeah,
then you have the only flyer in the game, and you're happy.
It's pretty good when you have a recursive flying threat.
Yeah, flying threats are pretty good, and I mean, If they have a Skyline Predator, then you're just like, well.
Again, I'm going to go back to the Concordia Pegasus argument here and say this card's crap.
I mean, all your Concordia Pegasus is doing is blocking. Like, that's not what I want to do with my Flyers. Okay. Dead Reveler, 2 and a black, Unleash, 2/3, love it.
This is a card I like.
This card is awesome. I mean,
should probably talk about what Unleash does, though.
Oh yeah, I should read Unleash because I haven't read that yet. You may have this creature enter the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. Period. It can't block as long as it has a +1/+1 counter on it. So you can scavenge it and it still won't be able to block. But anyway, a 3-cost 2/3 is pretty awesome. The fact that you can make it so that if you think that you're going to win the race, you can give it a 3. You can make it a 3/4. If you think that you need to start blocking, make it a 2/3. It'll block pretty well either way. Well, not either way. It'll block pretty well as a 2/3, and as a 3/4, it'll attack extremely well, especially at that point in the game. Especially if you're on the play and you just slam a 3/4, they're like, what do I do now?
I think Unleash is a very strong mechanic, and it's gonna make Rakdos very, very aggro, and this card is very well costed.
Right. The thing is, that's why I was saying earlier that Armory Guard is going to be cool because you can just block all these Dead Revelers and stuff like that. But either way, he's a very good card, and he's going to be a centerpiece in any Rakdos deck. You're always going to want to run him. Desecration Demon, 2 black for a rare. Flying at the beginning of each combat, any opponent may sacrifice a creature. If that player does, tap Desecration Demon, put a +1/+1 counter on it. This card's just really good. You're just going to run it, and it's a pretty good reason to be in black. It's just good.
Very easy first pick.
It is very important to note that it says at the beginning of each combat, meaning yours and theirs. So if they want to attack, they're going to have... and they don't want Desecration Demon in the way, they're going to have to sack a creature.
Well,
if they want you to not attack with Desecration Demon, they're going to have to sack a creature.
Well, the thing is, since it's at the beginning of each combat, it's not like, I want to attack with this, are you going to let me? So, at the beginning of your combat step, they're just going to sacrifice a creature, or you're going to attack. You're never going to have them not sacrifice a creature and then stay back to block.
Except for the first time you play it, if they still want to get in.
Oh, that's true, okay.
Yeah. It can be relevant, but honestly, it is a threat that, although it gives your opponent a choice, this is an example of giving your opponent a choice where both choices they make are just very bad for them.
Right. That's exactly what I was saying earlier.
This is the kind of choice card that I like playing.
It also just gets larger, so if ever they run out of creatures, you're just going to fly in for game.
Exactly.
Yeah. And in your first main phase, you're like, kill your only creature, concede, and then they're like, yup. Alright.
It's great with removal.
Destroy the evidence. 4 and a black. Destroy target land. Its controller reveals cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a land card, then puts those cards into his or her library.
Graveyard.
I was graveyard, sorry. I was thinking, like, why haven't I ever read this card before? And I realized just because I glanced over it and it's that bad.
I just have one question. Why does black get the better mill cards than blue in the set? Moving on.
Deviant Glee. Black, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+1 and has
Deviant.
red... what?
Deviant Glee. Not Deviant.
Deviant Glee. Enchanted creature has +2/+1 and has red. This creature gains trample until end of turn. I mean, it's fine. It's an unholy strength, plus you can get trample if you're running Rakdos, which could be pretty cool. I mean, put it on like the 3/4, and then you're like, yay!
Put it on a fencing ace.
As far as
you're never putting this on a fencing ace.
Why not? Gonna happen. As far as auras go, I think it's strong, but it just an aura. It always has an asterisk next to it.
Yeah, I don't think it's that strong for an aura. I mean, two power for one thing is fine, but like they could still just block it, and you're like, oh, I guess I got 2 for 1.
Oh, I mean, you could always put on something that has evasion.
Not always. You can, in best case scenario, you can put it on something
right.
evasion.
I mean, that's when you're going to be running auras in your deck, when you have a lot of evasive creatures.
Well,
that's when
not the vigilant. I mean, not the 5-cost vigilance one. That one's just good on any creature.
Well, yes,
but
I mean, auras like this, they're always played in decks that. There will be played in decks that like want to just make their evasive creatures bigger.
Yeah, I want this on my dagger drone.
What I do like is that it gives your creature really effective. If you have red as well, it gives your creature effective evasion. It lets you get in that extra power to their face, which a lot of creature enchantments at common haven't in the past.
Right.
But other than that, even talking about that, it's still not that great.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be running this card very much.
If you really, really want to make your guys +2/+1, you'll be able to. You'll be able to pick this up after you've already seen 8 cards.
Yeah. All right, Drainpipe Vermin. It's 1 black for a cute little rat. It's common. When Drainpipe Vermin dies, you may pay black. If you do, target player discards a card. No. This is not something I want to be doing. It's just bad.
A do nothing.
It's not even like Black Cat, which was
Black Cat was a
fine.
boss.
But this card's just
You have to leave. Like, if I really want to use it effectively, I have to leave up black in case it dies.
Yeah, I don't.
Why would I do that?
I'm not playing that card.
I'm not about to defend it.
But it's really cute.
Grave Betrayal, 5 black enchantment. It's a rare. Whenever a creature you don't control dies, returns to the battlefield under your control with an additional +1/+1 counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. That creature is a black zombie, in addition to its colors and types. So
it's the bomb.
Yeah, I mean it's just a bomb. It's 7 mana for a bomb, but it's pretty good, and it doesn't win you the game right away. It wins you the game in like 4 turns, but I mean it's pretty good.
Yeah, just note that if like you don't have any removal in your deck, 1, you're doing something wrong. You're in black. Why don't you have any removal? 2, you really aren't going to be doing much with this card. It needs other cards to work. But when it works, it works very well.
I mean, it needs like a 2/2 to work. What actually is interesting is it puts +1/+1 counters on it.
Yes.
So you can't block anymore if you have Unleash cards.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think we all agree that it's just a really good card, and you're gonna like run it.
I don't agree with that. It's a 7-cost bomb that does nothing when it first hits. You need to also have removal for this to do anything.
That's not true.
What does it do when it first hits?
Makes combat suck for your opponent.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like amazing, but I don't know. It's fine.
I don't know. I definitely don't see this as a first pick.
Well, it depends on the pack. But
yeah, I'm not nearly as large of a fan as you guys are making this card out to be.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not that big a fan.
Yeah, I don't think it's the greatest card ever printed, but it's pretty cool. Anyway, Grim Roustabout.
You pronounced it right. Good job.
I mean, Grim Roostabout.
Okay, fine.
1 black creature, skeleton warrior. It's a common. It has Unleash and it has 1 of black regenerate it, and it's a 1/1. So this card's pretty interesting because it can actually do a whole bunch of different things. So 1 of black for regen means that it's going to be able to be that blocker that's going to block their biggest thing every turn and make it deal 0 damage every turn. If you need it to be that. It can also be the awesome attacker that swings in for 2 every turn and they can't do anything about it because he can regen. The problem is he can't be both, and you have to decide that on turn 2. So you're really not sure which way it's going to go, but at the very least, I think that you're probably going to be running this card.
It seems very good for any black aggro deck. Black aggro decks love their bears.
Yeah.
And they love their bears that only attack because that's all that black aggro decks are usually going to be doing, just attacking. They have many other cards to use that are going to be they're going to be the blockers that they want to be using. And if you draw this guy late game, all right, now you got a sick blocker. He scales well. Yeah. So he doesn't exactly fit my criteria for a great card, but he is almost a bear plus.
He's not quite a bear plus because
he's close enough in my mind to have him in that category of bear pluses.
Yeah.
He's like a bear plus 0.5.
All right. Here's some common black removal. 3 and a black, instant, common, I just said that. As an additional cost to sacrifice Launch Party, which is the name of the card, which I did not read yet. Sacrifice a creature. Destroy target creature. Its controller loses 2 life. Loses 2 life, cute, whatever. It destroys... I mean, it just destroys anything. It's just fine.
It's okay.
But,
the only issue is it's 2 for 1.
Yeah, it's going to 2 for 1 you every time. And for 4 mana, that's like, hey, what are you doing, bro? Like, seriously?
It's kind of bad that the best part about this card is the fact that it's called Launch Party, which is what Wizards calls their events when the new set comes out.
Yeah, I mean, it's unconditional removal, which is something that it's not quite so easy to find in this set. And, yeah, I don't think it's going to be picked too highly, but you'll probably still run it.
If you need removal, it's removal.
I like it probably a little bit more than you guys do, especially if you're in that Golgari deck. If you have something that you just... I mean, you're not going to obviously get rid of nearly any of your good things, but if you have anything with Scavenge, it's not a 2 for 1, it's 2 for 2 at that point. Your Scavenge cards should already be 2 for 1 in your favor.
Not really. I mean, yeah, they're 2 for 1s, but you're paying 5 mana. Generally, you're paying like 5 mana to get 2 counters. That's not worth a card.
No, but it gives you something to do when you're drawing lands later in the game. It's the whole regen scenario with your Celestia dude earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fact that it's unconditional instant speed removal is very strong in this card. I think the fact that you have to sack something you don't care about is fine.
Well, why are you playing cards that you don't care about?
Well, remember that there's a token theme in the set.
Yeah, and you're not. I mean, you could splash
don't
this
just
card.
have to play a single guild.
Right.
Golgari and Selesnya work very well together. They converge on green.
Yeah.
If you want 5 mana and have out a rat, you can make them discard the card also.
What's also useful is that you can like chump block and still sacrifice it because it's an instant card.
It definitely has ways to be used, and the fact that it is removal is relevant.
Yeah.
It's not the best removal, but it is removal.
Right.
And you're gonna end up playing it if you're in black. It's unlikely you'll ever leave it on the side.
Well, there's definitely...
Unless you have already more removal than you need, in which case, congratulations, you win.
Well, Launch Party is a card that you're not like going to be very happy about running in multiples.
True, you don't want too many of these.
Even 2 is sometimes like, man, I have 2 Launch Parties in hand, but I don't want to lose my good creatures, so what am I really going to do with these things? I don't know, it's good, but...
Not my kind of party too much.
Not your kind of Launch Party. Alright. Mind Rot, 2 and a black for sorcery, discard 2 cards, whatever. We've seen this card forever. It's always fine, it's always playable, but it's not...
So it's playable, you never really want it that much.
Yeah, you don't really want it too much. Here's a sweet card. Necropolis Regent. 3 black for a mythic rare vampire. Flying. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put that many +1/+1 counters on it, it's a 6/5. This card's just awesome. I mean, this card is definitely a huge bomb.
I'm just a little confused. Why isn't this an Innistrad?
Yeah. This Necropolis Regent must have just gotten lost and it's just like 2 years late to the party, and it's just... I don't know what it's doing here, but it's definitely an awesome card.
This is one of my... Definitely, this is a card one of my cards I'm really looking forward to ever trying to play with. It's not going to happen because it's a mythic rare. And unless you get it first pack, it has a triple black. It's going to be very hard to play. But on those rare occasions, when you draft this, pack 1, pick 1, you're going to be a very happy camper.
Do you know how much this card is?
Like cash-wise?
Yeah, money. Is it like a money card? Because otherwise, are you going to see
$4 or $5? I think.
So you'll probably still see this card 3rd, 4th pick in pack 3.
Exactly. As the draft goes on, you'll see it later because people will not be splashing black.
Yeah.
But it has an immediate effect on the board in that it makes all your guys that are attacking the turn you play it grow really big.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have an immediate impact because they could just block. If it doesn't break a board stall until the next turn, but then the next turn it does. This card's
doesn't
really
break a board stall right away
until it becomes a 12/11.
Yeah.
But if you have any creature that can get in, you get your creatures in because the one that's getting in is getting big.
Yeah. No, this card's good. All right, Ogre Jailbreaker, 3 and a black for an Ogre Rogue. It has Defender. Ogre Jailbreaker can attack as though it didn't have Defender, as long as you control a gate. So I think what's pretty relevant here is that you're not always going to have a gate. So that's what I was saying earlier. It would be cool if you always had gates, but it's probably just not going to happen. So are you willing to play this card as a 4/4 Defender for 4? So I don't think I really am. I mean... For my 4 drops, I want them to have a little bit more impact. If it still is a pretty good card because there's so much upside to it if you do get the gate out. And I mean, it's still a really good blocker if you don't get a gate out, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm personally okay with playing it as a 4-mana 4/4 Defender because just not much in this set can get through that.
Yeah,
I'm a very large fan of this card.
Yeah.
While just looking, I was doing some draft simulators earlier today, and the gates are all at common. You're going to get 2 gates for each color. You're going to have obviously 1 per guild. You can even run gates that aren't in your guild gate. You just have them for that 1 color you need. Especially if you already have Jailbreaker. Kicking up a gate over a non-playable card is something you can do. You're not happy with it, but you can do it. And this guy is just so well costed. 4/4 for 4. Even though he has Defender, he's going to block every single 3-power thing in the set, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, originally when I saw this card, I'm like, yeah, but I don't know, for some reason I've tailored off, but now, I mean, I'm starting to feel it again. I like this card. And it's pretty cool flavor-wise. Is that like he's just chained to the freaking gate, and then once you have the gate, then he can just go roam free and just murder people or something? I don't know.
He goes rogue.
He goes rogue. Alright, Pack Rat. 1 and a black. Pack Rat's power and toughness are equal to the number of rats you control. 2 and a black. Discard a card, put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of Pack Rat. Can I hear populate anyone?
It's also a reason to run the discard rat. If you're trying to go rat tribal.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of cute, but...
I'd rather just run Pack Rat and make all the rats and take that discard rat and discard it to this and have it be Pack Rat instead.
Yeah, I don't love this card. I think it takes too long for it to be, like, game-winning, but I do think that it's a pretty good card.
I really like it.
I like this card a lot in draft.
I enjoy the fact that it turns any of your irrelevant cards into things that just grow and grow.
Right, but turn 3, you don't have irrelevant cards in your hand. Like
you can if you got.
You can, yeah. If you have a bad hand, then you have irrelevant cards. But generally, you're just saying, okay, I'm going to discard my card now, so that in 3 turns I'll be able to win.
And once again, you could discard a scavenge card.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good because it's also just really hard for them to. Well, I mean you're not discarding scavenge, you're just winning the game. Because you're just going to be like, Pack Rat, Pack Rat, Pack Rat. And it's not like you can have 3 Pack Rats and then they're just like, kill your Pack Rat, now you're dead. No, because all of those are copies of Pack Rat, so then they're like, no, I'm still going to Pack Rat, Pack Rat, Pack Rat.
Once you use it once, even if they kill the original, you still have tokens that...
The worst thing that can happen is Detention Sphere.
Yeah. I mean, your life just ends if they...
Cyclonic Rift would suck too.
Yeah, okay. So there's a couple of things that really hose this card, but those are both at rare, so it's not worth it.
Several is it static casters.
All right. So we all like that card. We all think it's going to be very good. You're just going to first pick this card a lot because you'll just win.
I do enjoy that it's single black, which means I can splash it in Selesnya decks, which make me happy.
Yeah,
population shenanigans.
I mean, like you don't need to use population shenanigans
but
because
if you
it already has built in. I'm gonna play another guy every turn, so I don't think you really need to.
But it's fun.
Anyway, Perilous Shadow, 2 black, Insect Shade, common, 1 black, gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Go ahead, I know you love it.
I absolutely love this card. I mean, it starts off as a 4-mana 0/4 Shade, which means that it's just a creature that ends up being able to pump itself for more black mana. And Shades have historically been good and limited. The fact that it starts off as a 0/4 rather than a 1/1 like most Shades means that even without pumping it, you can block things really well, which is relevant. That's more than most Shades can do. Then you look at the pump. It's not black for +1/+1/+1. It's 1 in black for +2/+2, which means you can use colors besides just black to pump it, which is breaking new ground on Shades. Like, most Shades don't let you use non-black colors.
Well, I've seen a lot of Shades that are 1 black for +1/+1.
But this is 1 black for +2/+2. It's just so much better. I mean, just for the cost that you played it for the turn before, the next turn you're swinging with a 40.
If you have nothing better to do.
Right, but then you can't cast spells. But then again, like giving your creature +4/+4 every turn could just be like good enough to win the game.
Yeah.
4/8s are not easy to get rid of.
Yeah, I mean, I like this card. I don't love it. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not so convinced that it's that much better than Liliana Shade was because that does fetch you a swamp. But I do hear the point that you can use your other mana as well as your black to pump it, so that just basically makes you be able to do twice as many pumps every turn.
And if you really want to do other things and you're trying to stabilize, you can leave him back as a blocker. Liliana Shade, you leave it back and you don't do anything with your mana, you're not doing anything with Liliana Shade. It's just a 1/1.
Yeah, that's true. But, I mean, a 0/4 blocker is not...
Blocks a lot of things.
If I'm in... Yeah. I don't think this is the reason to go into black, but if I'm in black, I'm very happy to see this.
I would not take this...
Well, yeah, you have to be
I'm not in black yet.
You have to be pretty heavy black, not because of the pumping thing, but just 2 black for a card that's not, like, super awesomely incredible is, I think, too much. I mean, it's not like... do you think it's better than Azurius just this year?
Well, I don't think many things are better than Azurius just this year.
Right.
That card's awesome.
Right.
But... this is one of my favorite black commons in the set. I'm definitely going to try and draft a lot of decks using it. And it can definitely do stupid things because it grows really fast.
Especially if you have multiple of these out, which is possible if they're at common.
Yeah.
Seeing that both of them, they have 1 blocker, you're guaranteed to get in. Your other thing's probably not even dying because it has 4 toughness.
Alright. Sewer Shambler, 2 and a black for a zombie. It's got Swamp Walk, it's a 2/1, and it has Scavenge for 3. I'm not really sure how to evaluate this card. I don't think I like it very much, but I mean the thing is, it's another card that it just has 2 cards on it that I don't really think are worth a card. But since they're both on it, it probably makes it even a little better than a card.
Is this the first time we've seen Scavenge in the set finally?
Is it?
I think it is.
Okay. All right, fine. 2 and a black. Exile this card from your graveyard. Put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to this card's power on target creature. Scavenge only as a sorcery.
So this card, Swamp Walks, which is great in sideboard, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
decks.
if they're playing a black deck, then you're so happy to play this card.
Yeah.
I think even if they're not playing a black deck, without Swamp Walk, I'm still playing this creature. I think the scavenge cost on this dude is very low compared to the other scavenges.
True.
Other than Slitherhead, you're going to have your scavenge costs almost always larger than your casting costs, and almost never to the ratio of mana per power you're gaining.
Yeah, I mean,
And
this is
really
one of the
strong.
cards that I'm playing more for its scavenge than even for its body. Its body's pretty terrible. I mean, it just gets killed by like a song seller of songbirds
without Swamp Walk, I see this guy. He's going to trade with something, maybe relevant.
He might not trade with something. He might just sit on the board and do nothing.
I think he trades.
I think in most cases you can get in the trade. You play him in turn 3, you can find something with 2 toughness.
Yeah.
And the worst comes to you trade and then you get extra value by having the scavenge.
And that's important to remember about the scavenge cards. They are some of the best cards that for trading in Magic to be printed in a long time. They give you really good value in the graveyard after they've already been used on the board.
All right.
Scavenge is a mechanic that looks a lot worse than it actually is in play. I get the feeling that Scavenge will play a lot better than people give it credit for.
Perhaps. Anyway, I mean, I think some people are giving it a lot of credit.
I am.
But anyway, Shrieking Affliction, black for an enchantment. It's an uncommon. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if that player has 1 or fewer cards in hand, he or she loses 3 life. I don't really think that we need to talk about this one. I mean, you guys...
It's gimmicky.
Yeah, it's just...
I like gimmicky. I'm going to play it in all the Mind Rots.
I don't think you actually are.
I'll beat you.
You're not going to do that. So.
It's not very strong and limited unless there's some combo that I just didn't see.
Yeah, no, not going to happen. Anyway, Slum Reaper, 3 and a black for a creature horror uncommon. When Slum Reaper enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature. So it's a 4/2, not a great thing for 4. 4/2 for 4. Its ability is kind of interesting, especially in the things with Scavenge. So as we were just saying, you're like, okay, I'll sacrifice my Sewer Shambler, and now I can get value out of that, put counters on this guy, and suddenly he's a 6/4. Then he becomes pretty cool. That also kills the creature
on turn 5.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's okay. I would like this card in just so many more formats that aren't the ones that involve tokens. Because if my opponents have tokens, they're going to sack a 1/1, and I have to sack something probably better.
Yeah, I mean, that is less than 1/5 of the decks, though.
Yes. But, I mean, there are tokens in every color. It's just more in white and black. White and green.
White and green.
Yeah.
I like this card because...
It is removal.
This is also another card where you don't have to necessarily play it on turn 4.
Yeah.
You can hold this thing in hand, somewhat profitably.
Right, the problem is, though, it's pretty much always going to 2-for-1 yourself.
Unless you're sacking itself, in which case you just treat it as a sorcery removal card.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You could just do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's a fine card.
It's a fine card. I'll play it in most black decks.
Just sorcery speed.
Yeah, and actually, I don't even know what I was saying. You're just going to 2-for-2 yourself because this guy's always going to trade for something. But, like, worst case scenario, you just trade for their 2 worst creatures, and you played this creature, and you also lost, like, a bad creature. So
you also lost an irrelevant creature.
Best case scenario, they only had 1 creature because you've been keeping them on the back foot, and now you're swinging in for a bunch because they don't have any creatures anymore.
Yeah, this is true. All right.
But moving on to my favorite black card in the set.
My favorite black uncommon. Common.
Not my favorite black common, but Stab Wound, 2 and a black, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets -2/-2. At the beginning of the upkeep of enchanted creature's controller, that player loses 2 life. So yeah, it's good. You get to like cripple something or kill something, and they lose 2 life. But it's got nothing on like murder or anything like that because
I disagree.
I don't think you can really argue that it's worse than murder. Like they can just trade this card immediately, so it doesn't deal the 2 life if they want to. If they want to keep the creature, then they can keep the creature. So murder is
what? How can they trade it? You choose what to put this on.
Yeah, you put it on their creature, and then you just trade when they attack.
I mean, yeah.
Your creature's not like a 17/17 where it's like, oh no, now I'm never gonna... Like, you're probably going to put it on like a 4/4 or a 5/5.
In which case it's removal.
Yes, and then which is what I said. It's not as good as murder because it's not an instant card, and it gives them the option. If they still have a 5, if they have like a 5/3, then they can still have a 3/1, and they can still attack, and then it can just be a 2-for-1. And I think it's a good card. I think it's a good removal spell, but it's not like the card that I'm most excited about.
I think it's just a very strong black removal spell in that I would have always been happy to play 2 in black, enchant creature, give a creature -2/-2. That seems like just
right. I'm not arguing that it's a very good spell. I understand that
giving it that other ability where the main issue with like what was the name of the card in Innistrad? There was one Deadweight, right? You put that on a Chapelgeist and you're annoyed because they still have a 0/1 dude that just can sit there and do a chump block.
Right.
You put this on the new Chapelgeist, you can just let that sit there. If they're not going to do anything with it, if you're not going to try and kill it, they die.
I like
They're
this
just
card
going to chump block.
I like this card in the aggressive decks. Both Rakdos and Golgari are looking aggressive. Rakdos a lot more than anything else.
I don't think Golgari looks that aggressive. I think it looks really grindy.
Yeah, there's two ways to make it. Stab Wound, it has a 4 life turnaround each and every turn. You're taking 2 off of them, and if their creature doesn't die, they're losing 2 life they would normally not have.
Yeah,
lost.
but their creature's gonna die. Like, you can't just say, oh, best case scenario, if they're stupid and they don't trade off their creature and they lose 2 life every turn, then you're really, really happy. Like, that's not how you have to think of the card. You have to think of the card
swing into
that they're so you're not attacking for the rest of the game?
If nothing else happens, you win.
Why is nothing else going to happen? That's not how you play Magic.
No, if you put this on a 4/4, then you don't want them to have a 4/4. Now it's a 2/2. That's make them lose 2 life every game, every turn. If they swing with a 2, you're okay with it. You're going to be winning this race no matter what you're doing.
Why are you winning this race?
Because they're also taking 2, no matter what.
Right, so they're dealing 2 to you, and you're taking 2.
Assuming you're not swinging at all. As soon as they swing with this creature, you don't and you swing back for more.
Why is it more?
Because they're also taking 2.
Are you assuming that they don't have creatures? Like, I just think that you guys are thinking about this card in the best case scenario.
I think you're thinking about it in the worst case scenario.
I think almost all the situations they're going to be able to control. That's why, this is why I hate cards like Magma Phoenix, because when Magma Phoenix dies, it does a whole random shit. So they get to choose, your opponent gets to choose when Magma Phoenix dies, because it's their creature. I mean, because
you get the choice here. They choose whether they want to swing in. If they don't swing in with this creature, you're okay with this. That means it's going to stay alive, and they're going to take damage. If they do swing in, it's not going to be that large.
Okay,
so
what if
that damage?
What if they swing? What if they swing in with 7 power of creatures that are not this card? Leave this card back. Are you not going to swing back? No.
You'll swing back with a bunch of creatures. They'll block. They'll lose their creature, and you'll do a bunch of damage too.
Okay, that's exactly what I'm saying.
And
they're going to be able to trade this card off if they want to. I'm arguing that this Stab Wound is a very good card. I like it. I don't think it's the greatest card ever. I think it's
the greatest card ever. I said it's my favorite black common.
Okay, but I mean, I think that the way you guys are arguing for this card, you're basically saying this is just really, 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 really good. And I think it's a good black removal spell. I don't think it's a great black removal spell.
In a weak deck, I think it's first pickable.
You mean in a weak pack?
Yeah.
Very easy. I mean, so most removal is.
Right. Yeah, I would.
Like Deadweight was easily.
I could definitely see myself first picking this.
I can see myself splashing for this.
Yes, I mean it's removal.
Right.
Yeah. Removal is removal.
Like pack 3, I can splash for this.
I just like that if it gets to a board stall.
Then no, that doesn't do anything.
No, if it gets to a board stall, they're gonna be taking 2 damage.
They can just attack.
It can also make it no longer a board stall.
You can easily have a Concordia Pegasus to block their 4/4. That's now a 2/2.
Okay, so you're playing black-white now. Okay.
I like black-white in every format.
All right, I think we've talked this card into the ground. I disagree with both of them. I think it's a good card. I think you're going to run it. They think that it's an amazing card and that you should always take it.
In any case, it's definitely a good removal spell.
Yeah, I agree. Even I can agree.
Moving on to a card that's utterly horrible.
Well, it's not utterly horrible. It's a bear plus.
It's a bear minus.
No, it doesn't have a minus.
It's a bear neutral.
Tavern Swindler is 1 in a black. It's an uncommon. It's a human rogue. Its ability is tap, pay 3 life, flip a coin. If you win the flip, you gain 6 life. Anybody who knows anything about probability and statistics knows that half the time you'll lose 3 life and not gain 6 life, and then the other half the time you will gain 6 life and lose 3 life, so you will end up gaining 3 life. So overall, you will get it to be equal. This card, there's no reason to start flipping coins at the beginning of the game unless you're feeling lucky or something like that. But I mean, if you're at 4 and they're swinging for 5, then you can just do this. And you're like, do I win?
It's a walking corpse.
Yeah,
if you need a walking corpse in your deck, play a walking corpse.
I mean, it's a bear. It really is just a bear.
If you happen to have it late game and they're doing if you have 4 or 5 life and they're going to do 6 damage to you, go ahead and do its ability. It might save you a turn.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's an interesting card, but it's just a 2/2. All right, Terrace Worm is 6 and a black for a 5/5, and it has 6 and a black for Scavenge.
There are better Scavenge cards. There are better 7 drops.
Right, but I mean, it does Scavenge for an insane amount. So like,
it's true.
If the game gets to it, like you could play this card and expect it to win you the game.
This is why I agree with you, Daisho, that the Golgari Scavenge decks look much more grindy and mid-rangey than like a straight up aggro Rakdos deck.
Right, and like a 5/5 body is always going to be relevant. There's not that many things in the format that are like, yeah, I can take on a 5/5 and live to tell the tale about it. So they're going to have to like double block it, and then you're going to be able to scavenge it. So you can probably get your value out of your 7-drop, but it's not like a 7-drop that wins you the game.
Yeah, that being said, it's still a 7-drop.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 7-drop that doesn't have evasion, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm really sad about its lack of trample.
Anyway, Thrillkill Assassin, 1 and a black for an uncommon human assassin, Death Touch, Unleash, 1/2. This card's really good. I mean, it's a 2/3 that it will always at least trade for something or just deal 2 damage until you're dead. So I think it's just a really good card. If you even need to, it can be a 1/2 Death Touch and still trade with anything. Okay.
And then block, which is awesome.
Yeah.
It's
really a very strong card. It's an uncommon, right?
Yeah.
This could not be a common.
No.
If you want to be drafting that Rakdos, whatever it's called, Unleashed deck, you want this card.
Yeah, definitely.
You want me drafting a black deck? You want this card.
Yeah, you won't pass. I mean, there's not that many things that you'll take over this card.
Speaking of black cards, you want in your deck.
Ultimate Price, 1 and a black, destroy target monocolored creatures. It's an instant. It's an uncommon. Before anybody's like, oh my god, this card is so much worse than Doomblade, I really don't think it is. Like, there are some multicolored creatures, but there are not that many multicolored creatures. This card's still going to kill something relevant every single game.
And most of the multicolored creatures are going to, I think that most of them are in the mythic and rare range. So you're going to
at least uncommon.
Right.
Yes.
So you're going to be seeing more relevant monocolored creatures in the set, even though their bombs are probably going to be, like, the things you want to be removing are going to be multicolored, but the things that you can and need to remove are also going to be in monocolored.
They're bread and butter creatures. Like, the things that their decks are just mostly made out of, and the things that you're going to be interacting with normally, the things that you want to just get rid of, this gets rid of them. The only thing that's important to note, at least I don't know if it's important to note for the set, but I'm pretty sure it is, destroy target monocolored creature cannot destroy an artifact creature, as that creature is colorless.
Right, that's not that important. There's very few
Well,
artifact creatures.
Street Sweeper.
Yeah, but
The Street Sweeper is awesome.
Are the key runes colorless?
no, they're not.
No, they're not colorless once you animate them.
So
They're actually multicolored.
yeah, they're multicolored.
So you still can't kill with ultimate price.
Well, that's good to note.
Yeah, they're
At no time can you kill a key
So
rune
isn't
with
this
ultimate price.
Exactly.
worse than Go for the Throat then?
not strictly, because you can still kill Porcelain Legionnaire.
Yes, because it has color. You can
In a
kill.
Volt Scourge.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can kill colored artifacts.
So it's not strictly worse than Go for the Throat, but it's worse than Go for the Throat. All right, Underworld Connections. 1 black, enchant or enchant land. Enchanted land has pay 1 tap, pay 1 life, draw a card. This card's really, really good, and it's really, really good in the grindy decks.
By far the best enchant land.
Oh my god, I love this.
Yeah.
I love this card.
But my question is, how early do you take this card? Would you take a removal spell, like a common removal spell, over this card? And I think
pick one?
Yeah, I think the answer is yes.
Depends on how I'm feeling that day.
I think I take a stab wound and annihilating fires over this.
Yeah.
I would likely take Annihilating Fire over this.
Okay, how about this? Like, let's say you're already in black.
Taking Underworld Connections.
Really?
As soon as I'm in black, I'm taking
No, if
Underworld
I'm
Connections.
already in black, I want a stab wound.
I mean, this card is just pretty slow, and eventually it'll gain you enough advantage that you'll probably win. But I don't know.
I just really like the ability to draw extra cards. Breaking the symmetry of a game of Magic is one of the quickest ways to winning.
Okay. All right, that's pretty good. All right, Xanakev Locust. First time I read this card, I'm like, why are they printing so many 6-cost 3/3 flyers?
Is there one in every color?
I don't even. Maybe. Probably not.
I don't think there's one in red.
And there's probably not.
I'm pretty sure there's not one in green.
Yeah, there's not going to be one in green. But anyway, it's an uncommon. It's flying 3/3, but its ability is scavenge for 2 black. So getting this guy out is going to be a pain. But once he's on the board, he's just going to be like, yeah, this card attacks in the air. That's cool. It does 3 damage to them. That's cool. Oh wait, when it goes to the graveyard, I can still spend like a good price and get 3 counters. Thanks. Yeah, so once you land it, it's going to be awesome. But until then, you're just going to be like, why am I holding this card?
This is one of those cards that is the scavenge is well costed, but that being said, the creature itself is a little overly costed. If you're just going to have it be a 3/3 flyer for 6, it's not that good. But the scavenge ratio for mana paid to +1/+1 counters received is a very good ratio.
Then again, this is an uncommon black flyer. Black doesn't get very well costed flyers without drawbacks. I am fine paying 6 mana for a 3/3 flyer in black when it has an upside like this.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a solid scavenge card.
Yeah, we're gonna play this card definitely a lot. So that's gonna be it for black. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a nice day. Bye.
Garub signing out.
Adios.